Let me see your hands. Wave them at them bitches hating on you with their friends. Girl, you got it. Let them know that.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. To all my regulars, welcome back. I am trying to be consistent, so it's another Tuesday. I think if I'm off on Tuesdays, I'll do a sit down every Tuesday. I prefer the sit downs because there's less editing, whereas a vlog you need to put things together and edit and cut out all the mistakes and cut out what you don't want people to know. But a sit down, I just sit down and I talk to you and I just flow, and it's easier. I don't have to do much editing. I basically just put it up as soon as I finish recording it. So today I just want to talk about, sorry guys, it's raining, so it might be hard for you to hear me, and I've got a cold which doesn't help. Let me just try and put the volume and see. Okay, I just had to steal a moment. I'd just gone to the shops to get something, and when I'm in the house, it's never ending. It's cleaning, it's cooking, it's the baby, it's this. So at least when I go to the shops or I go out, I can steal a few minutes and maybe sit down and talk to you guys. So a couple of months ago, someone commented on one of our groups on Facebook asking about what to expect when you get to Ireland, and whether they need to buy any bedding, whether they need any money when they get here, basically what to expect when you get to Ireland. So I'm just going to share my experience. It might be of help to someone, but I'm pretty sure if you follow my videos or you followed me from the start, you might have picked up a few things from me to sharing my experience. Like I said, my name is Pamela and I share my journey about relocating to Ireland as a nurse. So some things may help others, some may not. Some of the things are general, some are specific to nursing, but then I think on a whole it's more general and it affects all of us once you relocate. So I'm just going to share what it was like arriving in Ireland and what to expect. At the time that I came, there was a lot of sponsorship, so I was basically sponsored on everything when I was coming. I remember the time I arrived, it was COVID time, so even my quarantine, my hotel stay in the quarantine in the hotel was paid for by our sponsor or employer. I don't know how they worked it out. I was brought by an agency called Services, so they basically paid for our quarantine, they paid for our exam fees, the RCSI exam. For nurses, you'll know what I'm talking about. And the only thing they wanted us to pay for was our flight tickets and our visas. And I think the visas are 60 or between 60 and 100 if I'm not mistaken. And the other thing was the flights, and they said that once you arrive here, they will reimburse you on the flights. And I think that's just to make sure that you come, because if they sponsor everything, you can just decide last minute that you're not coming. But at least if you're buying your own ticket, then you're taking it seriously. So I got it in that sense. So when I got here, yes, they did reimburse us, guys. I don't want to lie. They just needed the receipts of the flight tickets and the receipts and the tickets, and they reimbursed us. So things have changed. The way things happened for me may not necessarily be the way things are happening for everyone else right now. And then the only other thing I paid for, because we were writing exams in Dublin before coming down, was accommodation after the quarantine, the accommodation for the few days that we're preparing for, because it didn't make sense for me to come down to Tipperary and then go back to Dublin. And I think our own accommodation was from a certain date, like from just a day before or a few days before I started work. So the other thing that they organized for us, which I would encourage all of you to make sure your sponsor is doing for you, is to sort out accommodation. I think you have seen, if you haven't come here, that accommodation is a pandemic in Ireland. It's like a big thing. It's hectic. So please, from the moment you get a job offer, start pushing them, start asking them to help you with accommodation. It's so hard to get accommodation in Ireland, let alone when you don't know the place you're going to, you don't know anyone there. The only other thing you can do is, if they tell you to look for your accommodation, is for you to go on groups like Zimbabweans in Ireland, Ladies of Ireland, whatever island groups you're on, and talk to people and look for people in the area that you're going to. Ask them to rent you a room, ask them to get you a room, ask them to link you to someone who's got a house. The hospital you're going to, look for people who work there. Sometimes people put posters up on notice boards. That's the only way you can get accommodation. And word of mouth is a big thing in Ireland. Telling people that you're looking for a house, or telling your colleagues, they know better, especially the Irish colleagues would know more about houses that are available, especially when you're now looking for a house, a full house, to bring your family over as well. But I can't stress this enough. If you're coming here for the first time, ask your employer to help you with that and keep pushing it before you get on that plane to leave Zimbabwe. nowhere you're going to stay, nowhere you're going to reside, nowhere where you're going to put your head down to sleep. Because guys, when you come here, it's stressful enough that you've left everything that you've known for all these years to start a new life, and then you have to worry about things like accommodation in a place where you don't know anyone and where you don't know where to start. People say, okay, go on the online and look on Daft and whatever. Yes, sometimes you can be lucky on Daft, but chances are really slim because so many people are looking for accommodation around here. With me, like I said, I was brought by service was they got us accommodation. I remember when we started, there was 3 of us going to the hospital I was going to. 2 of us got accommodation in one house and the other one got accommodation in another house. This was a shared house, so you're getting your bedroom. In some cases, if you're lucky, you can get an ensuite, you can get a bedroom with a bathroom, but in most cases you're sharing a bathroom. The thing with shared house is things like understanding each other, having a duty roster where at least you're alternating to clean the toilets, alternating to clean the kitchen, alternating basically to clean the spaces that you're sharing, like the toilet, the kitchen, the lounge. And then most of the time everyone is a shift worker, so you don't really see much of the other people. You're just coming in and out, resting, cooking, going to bed, going to work. You don't really, in some cases, some people really get along and can at some point end up becoming friends, and yeah, that's a story for another day. But obviously you have to be civil with the people you're staying with. Anyway, so when we arrived, so we were brought, like I said, 2 of us were brought by the driver of the agency that brought us. We arrived there. Luckily the landlord was there waiting for us. The landlord had his own car. We had no idea where the hospital was. We had no idea that, like, our agent didn't tell us that the accommodation that we got you need to bring your own blankets and your own bedding, etc. And fine, in a shared house you'll find basics like plates. In the kitchen there'll be basics like a toaster, washing machine, dishwasher, what else, plates, forks, knives. But we didn't know that our beds would be empty, like, which I think we also didn't think of it. There's so much that goes on when you relocate that you don't remember everything. Luckily, when we were in Dublin and we rented a place for a few days to write exams, I got a bit of bedding because that place just had bare beds, like empty beds, where you needed to have like a duvet cover, or I think they were duvet, I don't remember, but I bought a bit of bedding there. So I would stress that when your employer finds your accommodation, find out, do you need to buy bedding when you arrive here? Also, if you're going to be dropped there, ask them to show you the hospital. We were fortunate enough that the landlord asked us, like, when he was there when we arrived, and he was like, do you know where you're going to work? No, we had no idea. Okay. And we were starting work the next day. Then he's like, these are your rooms, and we realized the rooms have no bedding. There are no sheets, there's no duvet covers, there's no duvets, there's nothing, like no pillows. He's like, okay, I can take you to the supermarket and show you the few main supermarkets here, and you can buy your bedding. I told the agent this, but the agent is obviously busy with a lot of other employees or whatever, people that they've brought over. So luckily we had money. Again, when you're coming, make sure you have, I don't know, maybe 500 just to cover yourself until you start getting paid. So we had like spare money with us. We bought the few basics that we needed to start off with, like pillow, duvet cover, duvet sheet, a plate, a cup. Or even though the house had that stuff, you know, sometimes you want your personal things. So if we can avoid it and bring some of these things from home, it makes more sense. Of course, you can't bring a whole duvet, but you can bring a duvet cover, you can bring a sheet, you can bring a plate, a spoon, a fork, like your basics that you're going to start off with, because you don't want to be using things that people have been using in that house for the past 10 years. Those things are just washed and put back in the drawers. So for hygiene purposes, I'd suggest bring your own cup, plate, fork, or bring money for you to buy those things when you arrive. And then also, like I said, find out where the hospital is. Unfortunately for us, where we were was a little small town where there was no local transport yet. 4 years later, fast forward, now we do have local buses. At that time there were no buses, so we had to walk like 20 minutes to the hospital to and from a shift, and bear in mind these are 12-hour shifts. You're working in the morning to catch maybe 7:45 or 7:30, and then you're knocking off at 9. Maybe by the time handover is over, it's 9:30, and you're walking 20 minutes back. So also find out about the transport system in the area that you're going to. Are there buses? Are there trains from where you stay to where you're going to work? Are you going to need transport money? Those are things you should know before you get on that flight from Zimbabwe, or from where you're coming from. If you're coming from Ghana or Kenya or wherever else, India, you need to know those things before you get here so that you have enough finances to cover you. When you arrive here, it's fast forward. You're sorting out bank accounts, you're sorting out PPS numbers. You can't get paid without a PPS number, you can't get paid without a bank without a bank account. So the first week, the first 2 weeks, those are the things you're sorting out. You're signing contracts with your HR, you're doing trainings, you're doing competencies or compliances. They're just basically inducting you into your workspace. You're being shown around, you're being shown how they work in that space. That's the whole time the whole culture shock is happening, the first month when you arrive here. And that's the same time where it's intense, because you've just left everything you've known for years to start a new life. You get here, you're opening bank accounts, you're getting PPS numbers, you're getting registered, you're signing contracts, you're doing trainings in between, you're starting these shifts. Like us, for me, it was a shock, because back home we were doing 7 to 4s or 12 to 8, if I'm not mistaken. I think we're doing 8 hours max. And then you get here and you're doing 12-hour shift all of a sudden, and you're walking, you're used to driving. Next thing, you're walking to work and you're walking back and all that. So all those things are things I would suggest that you find out about before you leave. Where am I working? Where am I staying? What's the distance from where I'm working to where I'm staying? Do I need transport money? What transport is available? You can't get a car before you come, because there's things like the license issues, and you need to have insurance in your name and all that. So that you do when you get here. But at least you need to know, what transport am I using? What transport is convenient? Do I need money? How much do I need for a week? How much do I need for a month till I get paid? And honestly, if your HR is good and all things are going well for you, you can get your first salary from 2 weeks from your start date. But I would say a month is fair enough. So bring yourself money that will be enough to survive for the first month. And then if they get you a place, like for us, they paid rent for us for the first month, and then the next month going forward, that you were paying our own rent. So you need to clarify that as well. Am I paying my own rent from the time I come? Because that money will be expected upfront when you get here. But if they're paying for you for the first month, then that's super. But find out all these things. Don't get here and be stuck. And then what else? I think if you've got questions, put them in the comment box down below. I'll answer them. What else? Yeah, I think that was adjusting and what the reality of things on the ground when I got here. So I hope this helps someone. Please like, please share, please subscribe.